And we are live. Welcome to the Red Blue Pod number 115. I really hope we had more people around. The
Yeah,
invite got
okay.
sent around.
Yeah.
So we will go to the intro now.
Not funny. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Not funny.
How are you, Overlord?
Uh, Still recovering from that, sir. From that wisdom teeth surgery.
I
Yeah,
see. Well, at least you're there. Thank you a
yeah.
lot for
Out of
coming.
the. So sadly, I ran out of the painkiller pill. So when the pain kicks in, I don't really have much means of shutting it off under an alternative mean. Like, for example, I think like the mouthwash was prescribed to me seems to work, but
Yeah. And now we got someone backstage to join us for the first topic, which is Avenger Infinity War. How are you, Glyndor?
Good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you very much for joining us. We were supposed to have more people around, but things happen, and I guess people are occupied. So
just
today we got two topics: Avengers and Ant-Man and the Wasp. And because Overlord only has seen Infinity War, that's the first one we are doing today. And I will let Overlord go first on that one.
okay. I really like that movie. It was just it's like I really like that movie. Proper introduction, proper in, proper introduction to Thanos. It's like proper see actually getting to actually see Thanos taking action and stuff. It's like a all kinds of all kinds of it's like all kinds of cool set pieces, and it's like it took place all over. Had many events across various places, and it showcase that Thanos means business. You like
Did
a
you
good
see it in theater?
yes.
That's good. Do you want to add something?
No, I think that's there.
Okay. Well, Blinder, I will let you go second on that one. What did you think of Avengers Infinity War?
Yeah, I think it was a good ensemble. They managed to give everybody their time, except for Hulk, because they didn't know what to do with him. Um, but that's another thing altogether. I think that other than that, they made a statement at the start of the movie, killing off Loki and like permadeathing him essentially at the start of that film. And killing off the rest of Asgard as well with Thanos. They made a statement with Thanos that he was there to kill people, that people are going to die in this film, whether it be permanent death or the snap. I think it ended really well. I think it was a really the plot was compelling. Like you got behind, or you could get behind about what Thanos was saying about the world and overpopulation and less resources and stuff. Kind of understood his perspective, even though he was like insane. Um, like his perspective was the greatest villains are the people that you can kind of go, oh, I can understand why they're this way. Um, so I thought that was good. I thought there was good humor in it. Um, and good and the action was really good too. So yeah, I think they split them off appropriately with each other, and the people that were with each other on Earth, or with Wakanda, or up in space on Titan, they were like put together in a way that made them bounce off each other really well.
Yeah, I get that feeling. They were very clever and smart on how they used groups of people instead of having like everyone at the same place at the same time. It felt less chaotic per se. Um, so yeah, do you want to add something else, Linder?
No, that's my overall thoughts for Infinity War.
Okay, well, I will echo a lot what you said by saying the action was really cool, and I enjoyed that story about Thanos. That's why he's winning. It's because he's the main character there. Um, Now, I gotta say, one very interesting thing I did find was the fact that most of the Avengers did mistake throughout the entire movie, and this is why they basically lost. And this is also hilarious because we got like Okoye asking why Wanda was benched for so long. It was like at the right moment, right place. It's like full chaos. They are losing, and then Wanda kind of saves the day and destroy a bunch of stuff. And Okoye is like, "Why was she benched?" It's the kind of stuff that you're like, "Yeah, they did mistake. If she was more on the front line, maybe they wouldn't have taken the stone out of Vision." Um, so yeah, the other mistake is obviously Thor not really going for the head, or Star Lord getting emotional and ruining the
Yeah,
seemingly good plan that
yeah. In fact,
Thanos
that led to
used.
one of the Thor's mistake led to one of the famous lines of the movie. You
Yeah,
should have gone for the head.
and for the first time, the Avengers were divided when they fought a big threat. Um, they lost because they were divided. Um, if they were all together, things would have been different. Um, what else? Think that covered a lot, and it was kind of cool to see Thor having a new weapon outside of the hammer. Even if I like the hammer a lot, it's like, oh, that's refreshing. Um, Thanos again was amazing, and yeah, it's kind of sad they didn't stick to Loki's death, and they did that spin off with him. It's kind of sad. It's like, oh, people like the actor, so let's
No,
just
well,
find.
admittedly, Phase 4 is kind of where the MCU jumped the shark.
Yeah. Um.
Well, we actually, well, although it's worth noting, it's because they give the multiverse explanation, which honestly, trying to tie everything into the multiverse leads to things mattering a bit less. Like, okay, so I mean, remember, for example, in the Secret Invasion, they killed off Nick Fury's assistant. You know, already they just unceremoniously killed her off, and a few other characters. But you know, I can't help it. But sometime at the back of my head, I can't help but feel, at in which show or movie will they just bring an alternate version of these dead characters? It's like now it feels a lot like those deaths don't really mean much.
And
I don't know what
there was
happens. Feels less. Yeah, It's like honestly, Dragon Ball did the multiverse better.
another thing that was kind of interesting to mention there. I feel like there were interesting parallel between Thanos and Wanda basically deleting someone they loved over a stone. Wanda, it was to save the universe, and Thanos as well. But
In his own twisted way.
yeah, um, that was
In
very
fact, Thanos.
interesting.
In fact, Thanos said that he actually understood it. That he actually understood. That he actually respected the. He respected her move. What he respected what she did.
Yeah,
But alas, he had a plan to go through, so he had to. So he had no choice but to undo it to go through with his. It's like, but at least he
so
took the time to say that he. But at least he took the time to say that, you know, but he understood. It's like,
yeah, I did on purpose plan this out because we are near the end of season 5. of this podcast here, and Endgame will be in season 6, so we kind of leave on a cliffhanger with like Ant-Man in between. Um,
So
anyway,
we're not gonna end with Endgame.
no, it will be in next season. Probably week 3 or
Sad.
week 9.
Sad.
I can't remember when I placed it in the planning, but that's early next season. Anyway, um, I'm wondering if any of you have any other thoughts to share on Infinity War.
Nothing that I can. Nothing that comes up to my head right now.
And what about you, Glyndor?
I think I think a lot of people call it like the perfect comic book film. I think it's a great comic book film, but there are other movies in the franchise to put above it. So yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. So far, it's my favorite in the MCU on this current rewatch I'm doing for the podcast. I liked a lot Iron Man, but I do think this
Yeah,
one is a bit better.
and at the rate it's going, it's gonna take a while before anything can top that, because right now the quality standards are, I'd say, um, pretty deep, like pretty low, like I think it's digging. I think it's digging. It's digging I think it's digging a tunnel. The quality standards are currently digging a tunnel.
Filling you. Anyway, I will give this movie a 10 out of 10. I had no issue whatsoever. I
Same.
liked it so much.
I'll give
Same there. Oh,
I'll
that's
give it the
cool.
same.
What about you, Glyndor?
Rating. What's your rating system again?
I have no issue, so for me that's a 10. But I don't know
Okay.
how others rank their things.
I usually do
so-
out of 5, but 10's fine. I'd rate it like an 8 out of 10. It has some issues towards the end of the film, but like I think that overall there's not one scene that doesn't like go by that isn't entertaining inside of that movie.
That's great to hear. Now, before we close off on that topic, you said there were a few issues by the end. I'm curious to hear about these because I don't want to sound like an echo chamber, and we sound very positive there. So, what would be your issues with Infinity War?
I think they had to neuter some characters in order for other characters to shine. I think, and they also had like a lot of I don't know, a lot of characters in place that were like fighting, I guess, superior beings and going toe to toe with them. So like, I think the battlefield scenes were really good. I think Thor's entrance was phenomenal. But then you had like Akoya rather, and like Black Widow fighting like an alien hand to hand. Where like I was like Scarlet Witch would have been able to insta destroy her. Like, and they kind of neutered her from like Age of Ultron, so that she wouldn't insta snap these people because everyone knows how powerful she is. So they were dealing with a lot of power issues, I think. Like they gave Thor like the most power in the movie, so that this Infinity Gauntlet, he literally cut straight through by throwing his new weapon straight through it into Thanos' chest, which is a big power issue. Like there's a lot of plot armor involved. And if you've read the Infinity War saga, like Thanos uses a lot of the stones individually before he uses all the stones at once on the Avengers. He makes them super old at one point. Like they missed a lot of opportunity for him to play with the stones a little bit more, I think, at the end there. He just had a lot of hand-to-hand combat. I find that the battle on Titan was a lot better than the battle on Earth, to be honest, with Iron Man and I think they earned the emotional
Well, one thing of note is that one thing I know, you said that using multiple stones at once causes cause repercussions. Maybe that's why he was. Yeah, that's why maybe that's why he only used all the stones at once for two moves because he knew the effect. Because he knew it'd be an effect. Like
It's
by the end
but
of
it's not in the actual script, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
well,
It's
you
like
do
if that
see,
was-
for example, you do see what the state of the gauntlet after he snaps.
yeah, but that's
True.
after.
His
But it's
arm
after,
is yeah.
that's after he shoots all of those stones at Thor, and he cuts straight through it with his God King weapon. Like that's the problem, is that the Beta Ray Club, it just goes straight through it. And I think it's just it's a product of Marvel where they don't get their power consistencies right across the board. Like that's why they had to have that's why they couldn't have Hulk in the movie.
Yeah.
Because they had to bash him at the start, and that's fair. They were like, "Oh, this is how powerful Thanos is. He took on a Hulk. That's great." But like, they never had Hulk come out more. Like, and it's like he got afraid. I'm like, that's the opposite of Hulk's character. When he gets angry, he gets bigger. He gets stronger. So it's like they just didn't know what to do with him, and they wanted Mark Ruffalo more of his head on screen rather than a giant green Hulk. Like, there's a lot of issues that I have around the Hulk when it comes to the MCU, and I think Infinity War displays that a lot. Again, though, I'll say the final battle scene on Titan's the best part of the film, and they earn Peter. I'm a stand for the Guardians, and I love the Guardians. It's my favorite Marvel film, and I think they earned Peter's rage. They earned him breaking him out of that because he loved Gamora, so he's going to lose all sanity and faculties about him because he wants to know what happened to her. And when he finds out what he did to her, it pushes him over the edge. So I think they earned that part. And I thought they were going to kill Iron Man when he stabs him with the thing. I thought, oh, okay, Tony's dead. Like I thought when I watched it in the cinema, I'm like, oh man, they're going to kill the big one. Like they're going to kill the guy that started it all. Turns out they were just waiting another movie to do that. But yeah, I think Infinity War, it's a great film. It's not a perfect film. And just for reference sake, I think Winter Soldier is better. I think Civil War is a better Avengers film as well. But like Infinity War is up there. It's a top tier comic book movie. If I'm gonna be gripey and be nitpicky or a cinephile, that's what
I'll say neither of them are Avengers movie or Captain America movies.
Yeah, true. But like Civil War is it is an Avengers movie. All the Avengers are in it.
Yeah. I like your take, Glyndor, and I do agree.
Actually, come to think of it, was Hulk in Civil War?
No, because he was stranded on the ship.
He was stranded. He
was in space.
He was with over
Thor.
Fighting in the.
Oh yeah, right. Thor wasn't there.
In the arena. Yeah.
Thor
wasn't there because he killed them all.
Yeah.
Actually, I'd say he wouldn't actually kill them because he would knock them. He'd knock them.
Yeah,
he wouldn't want to kill.
He wouldn't
want to kill them.
That's why he was conveniently absent from Civil War because he would have.
Admittedly, same with Hulk.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah,
and the issue is Hulk has a bit of a harder time holding back.
Well, it took Tony and his big Hulkbuster suit to stop him in Age of Ultron, and all he did was knock him out, and he dropped a building on him. So, so yeah, that's the problem with when you do Age of Ultron. You see how mad Hulk gets and how enraged he gets and how he's unstoppable. That's where they're like, oh, we can't have him in Infinity War because the more Thanos hits him, the more angry he'll get. And the bigger he'll get and the stronger he'll get.
Yeah, so instead he gets taken out there early. He gets taken out early and actually manages to beat the fear into him.
And then has like anxiety issues, which it's not a good look for the Hulk. I just don't like that direction for the Hulk.
Well, admittedly, it actually does imply that Thanos is actually a tough, to actually be feared.
True, but
Admittedly,
the Hulk doesn't get fearful. That's the problem with that. Is that they've written into his character the opposite of what his actual strength.
at least we actually managed to sell things in the Endgame, but that's a topic for Endgame.
Well, yeah, we can talk about Professor Hulk when it gets to Endgame because there's issues. There's big issues with Professor Hulk. Yeah,
Of squid growth. Oh, we got someone
What's up? What's
right
up?
there. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Amazing. We were
I
about
was waiting
to
for the
close
Marvel
up.
stands to show up. I was like, come on. I'm ripping into Infinity War here. I want someone to like challenge me.
You know, funny enough, I was doing a DC video just before I started because the
Oh,
Green
there you go.
Lantern has a new show.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
yeah.
really? Which Green Lantern?
Exactly. That was my
Yeah.
point. But the it's gonna be Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan, and they're gonna be on Earth solving solving a crime.
So I'm okay with that. As long as like there's Hal Jordan, I'm okay with that. He's my Green Lantern.
He's the Green Lantern.
I agree with you, Chill. I'm so surprised that you would say that, but he is the Green Lantern. Yes, yeah.
On Earth, is it to save some money?
Yep.
Mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, compared to
Yeah, absolutely.
hence why another, and that's why and that's why that Suicide Squad, and that's another reason. That's another one of those reasons why that Suicide Squad game was terrible. We didn't have Hal Jordan.
Why?
That's the reason
Maybe
Suicide
because
Squad wasn't good. But look,
it's one of the many reasons.
there's gonna be scenes of a spaceship, or the first scene where they arrive on the planet. You'll probably see them up in space with the green aura around them. Like, let's go visit there, and that's like where all the budget just went to because they're gonna be spending time walking and talking, and that's
talking and walking through the night.
terrible.
Anyway, I was saying at Suicide was because what I was here. You know what? I maybe have a theory. We spoke for a while of how they could of how the Suicide Squad could possibly defeat Hal Jordan, and we realized they couldn't come up with a decent explanation. Like we couldn't even make any BS like how they took out the other Green Lantern. Like, let's see, what was his name again? The black one. What was his name again?
Jon Stewart.
Yeah, Jon Stewart. We could have come. Well, he's not as skilled as good as Green Lantern as Hal, or say that the Flash was being an idiot, or I don't know that Superman had stuck with kryptonite. But with Hal Jordan, we couldn't come up with a decent explanation, so we just had to make them kill off Jon Stewart instead.
I gotta say,
are we talking about like
the game?
The game.
Oh, the game. Okay, yeah, right, yeah.
I gotta say before we let Chillmonger talk about Infinity War, I gotta say, guys were saying they will walk and talk. I was like in my head, it will be The Walking Dead with superpowers, folks. This is exactly what we are getting.
Isn't that the Blackest Night? With the Black Lantern raising an army of zombies and.
Probably.
I mean,
maybe.
That's physically what the Black Lanterns. That's what they do. They raise zombie armies.
Anyway, let's get back on track now. Chillmonger, what did you think of Infinity War?
When it came out, it was the greatest movie of all time. Number one on my list. I cannot believe everyone is mixing with everyone else. When I watched that movie with the cliffhanger too, the superheroes lost. What? That movie was phenomenal stuff, and rewarding for an old head who would see scenes and see characters who would return, even if it's for small parts. It was great at the time. I wasn't much of a comic book reader at the time either, just getting my feet wet. But I did notice a couple of Easter eggs. Like I knew about how Silver Surfer is supposed to be what Hulk was, where Hulk just lands in the sanctum. Oh, Thanos is coming. I knew that was supposed to be Surfer. It was Yeah, it was a good time for me where I thought Marvel could do no wrong, and they really didn't do any wrong. There was problems with powers in that movie, but not enough to bother me, enough for me to be like, yeah, I can see why this is happening. And the greatest post-credit scene that we've ever had at Marvel, where there's a little device with a light up Captain Marvel star.
I just want to say something on that. I was super excited about that. My parents were like, "Who's this? Like, who's that about?" And I'm like, it's Captain Marvel. And I was like, showed her a bunch of stuff. I was like, I was excited for Captain Marvel, like to be in like, I was excited for Captain Marvel movie, and then I watched the Captain Marvel movie. But that's
Wasn't
another
that
thing
bad.
altogether. It
was
is
not
chill.
that bad.
It is chill. You're standing too hard. It's sandwiched between one great movie and one mid movie.
Just like Ant-Man and the Wasp was.
Oh, that movie's just that's that's no better. That's Captain Marvel and Ant-Man and the Wasp. They're like neck and neck.
I agree there. They are neck and neck.
At the bottom tiers. Yeah, in the bottom tiers. Anyway, yeah, I agree with you. I think I was like excited about that. I thought it was like Nick Fury disappearing and like calling her. I thought that was a really cool way to get her into like the saga, like at the end there. I think, to be fair, we can't talk about Endgame, but to be fair, like Infinity War, I think set up a lot of promise. It ended. It's one of the best endings to a Marvel film ever. Especially like watching Black Panther disappear when he tries to pick up Okoye and he's and then,
every single one of those,
and then Bucky disappearing as well. But the most impacting, I didn't talk about this in my thing. The most impacting was when Spidey was like, Tony, I don't want to go, Mr. Stark, I don't want to go, and he's like trying to hold him, and that gets a tear in my eye every single time I watch Infinity War, because it's the best Tom Holland ever acts is in that scene. Where he's like dying, basically disappearing, and Tony is like, and then the weight of that is on Tony for the whole next movie. Like that whole thing is on his shoulders because he let a kid die. Like that was the biggest thing, and it throws back to those kids dying in the building, like in Age
of Ultron.
Civil War, where she comes up and she's like, my son was killed like in Sokovia, like when you decided to go and be a hero. Like it's all this weight because the Infinity Saga is about Tony. Like it is about Tony Stark. That's what it's about. Age of Ultron, Tony. All the Avengers films center around Tony because the Infinity Saga is about Iron Man. It's about his journey out of Playboy billionaire, I care about my money myself, to I make the biggest sacrifice in the end. I'm the one that has the most to give up. In Endgame, he has the most to give up. And so, like, I love that they have that weight sitting on him in Infinity War, and they just go to black. Like, they just go to old mate Thanos sitting in the fields, looking, smiling on the grateful universe.
Yeah, and we're watching like, oh, this is when someone pops up from the back.
Yeah, and it's just like, nope, you're gonna have to wait a year, fellas. It's like, oh, like I remember in the cinema when I watched it, and everyone was just like, what? Like at the end, like I had people crying. There were people crying and everything. Like it was an event. Like I agree with you, Chill. When it first came out, it was like when Star Wars first came out, or like Empire, which is first came out at the cinema. So I asked my dad about it. I'm like, because my dad went to see Empire at the cinema when he was a kid. And I said, what was it like for you? And he's like, when they did the twist and like as in the Vader reveal. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, everyone in the cinema was shocked. They were stunned. Like, could you imagine like the greatest villain in cinema history to that point revealing he's the father of the hero to the audience? Everyone was in shock in the cinema. My dad was like, yeah, it was one of the greatest twists in history. So like this whole, he wins at the end, all these people are dead, like half the universe is gone, and they end it on that. I'm like, that's one of the greatest, it is one of the greatest cinema cliffhangers ever. Like Marvel did good with Infinity War. Like I can see, like I can nitpick the power issues and stuff. Like Chill was saying, like there's issues. I don't like how they handled Hulk at all. But like if I talk about the movie as a whole, it's one of the greatest cliffhangers that has ever been done. Like when
Funny
it
enough,
fades
the
to black.
Star Wars cliffhanger at Force Awakens was also really good.
Yeah, handing the saber
Yep.
over, yeah, and then he did this, and then no one cares. So like, yeah, then they destroyed Star Wars. So yeah, yeah.
And it's funny because it's true. It's one of the biggest cliffhanger, but I can bet they will try it again in the next Avengers, like 2 big movies.
Yeah, someone's gonna lose, and it's gonna be we need heroes. Everyone's gone. Let's go to the multiverse. I know a guy. I know a Spider-Man. I know a Wolverine. I know a Deadpool.
They're gonna bring Tony back. Let's do not pretend that this is not going to happen in the later movies. And if they do Kang or whatever iteration is of a multiverse villain they have, because I don't think they do Kang anymore. They're going to redo the whole thing. But the whole slate. I'm looking Comic-Con San Diego. It's going to be interesting.
Well, considering that the actor was fired, and from what I heard, actually, and I heard that Loki season 2 basically kills off Kang or something.
Yeah, they make it, and I've heard, I haven't watched it yet, but they make it ambiguous that they can go multiple directions. So they made it easy because the case wasn't finished. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chill. The case hadn't finished with him yet in court, so they didn't know which way it was going to go, and so they left it so that they could make him exist, or they could go another direction and do Kang later. So like they kind of made it so that they could.
Well, from what I heard, he was fired, so Kang is.
Oh no, he's fired.
The firing came after. The firing came when the sentence.
Yeah, so I'd say by this point, I don't think we're gonna have Kang, and that honestly, I'm not sure if they know what they'll do next. From what I heard, all future productions of the MCU are a mess, and they can't. Or total mess, and they have no idea what they apparently the Captain America movie still doesn't have a finished script. They're just shooting fight scenes, and apparently the main actor, Falcon, Captain. You know what? I think I call him Captain Falcon.
It's Falcon. It's Falcon.
I think I call him Captain Falcon.
I call him Captain Falcon. Yeah.
Yeah, Captain Falcon. He has no idea who he's even fighting.
Yeah. Well, you know the.
Apparently he's upset. Who am I been fighting?
Past the good part of Marvel at the end of Endgame, when he starts getting into the television shows, that's when we'll watch Marvel lose its way.
It's already seeing it lose its way, and jumping the shark, and
now not really strong. And this is how and Chill can't deny this. This is how every single Marvel show goes. They start really strong. They have filler episodes, and then they have this big grand finale to get you to watch the second season. That's every single Marvel show that has been released after Black Widow. That's like WandaVision, though. I despise that one above all others. Even She-Hulk is not as bad as WandaVision. And the reason why is because they did... in WandaVision, what made no sense to me whatsoever is that, and Feige, I confirmed it last night with Brad. Feige literally said this: the master of mysticism. This is what happens, and you were right, Overlord, over 9,000 Lord. They, with a multiverse, they have issues now because every character is involved. Right? We have this whole pocket dimension created in WandaVision. And it's just outside of New York, this town. Why isn't the Master of Mystic coming to knock some sense into Wanda? Why wouldn't he know this pocket dimension popped up like this? Oh, we know why. Because Feige didn't want, and in his words, didn't want another white man savior coming to teach the girl that she's doing wrong. He literally, I'm not verbatim quoting him, but that's the reason why he wasn't in WandaVision, the Master of Mysticism. This is a problem with the multiverse and writing agenda into these shows now, and having the writer also, just a note, and Chill knows this already. The writer was trying to write a House of M story without reading a single comic about the House of M, And this is another fundamental issue with Marvel now, is they're hiring writers based on like, oh, we want diversity, but they don't want people that actually care about the source material or want to actually adapt the source material. They just want people to write stories. And then what happens then is they put their agenda into that story.
In fact, from what I heard, liking the comic is a point against, like, so, like, let's say we have two black ladies. One of them is a big fan of the comics. The other is not. We choose the one who isn't a fan. Honestly, it makes me want to reenact the Hulk versus Loki. Make me wish that someone could reenact the Hulk versus Loki scene with the heads of Marvel as Loki.
Okay, well, that was very interesting. Now, I'm wondering, since we are about to close off on Infinity War, I will ask all of you. I'm wondering who among you will watch Deadpool and Wolverine on release. Like,
wait, we're finished with Infinity War? I still didn't say bring me Thanos. I still didn't talk about how Wakanda was represented well.
The greatest scene in that movie. The greatest scene in that movie. The greatest scene. The greatest Avenger.
And they brought back the theme because Age of Ultron wasn't using the same Avengers theme.
Yeah,
but I feel like and Joss Whedon did both of those movies, so I don't know why he wouldn't build on his own music. But they got back the regular Alvin Silvestri score and it made it more solid. And I would watch that for a year. That was the scene I would watch on my phone over and over again. Until Endgame's big scene. Music became iconic with that moment because we thought Thor, he's got a brand new hammer. Here he comes. What an amazing what euphoria I felt when that man came over here looking for Thanos. And we thought he could do it, and he almost did do it too. Should aim for the head. The final fighting scene, it was it. Open the section 17. Just let them in. Don't worry. You know, everyone. Oh my God, the way that the heroes had to fight them rather than letting and sacrifice, that was so major. Great stuff.
And that's interesting and funny. I kind of forgot to mention it, but I had a very different experience because I didn't see it in theater. Actually, the first time I've seen it was to be ready for Endgame. So I've seen it like a year after, just before Endgame came out. I did my first marathon of like all of the MCU stuff. Because at that point, I had seen like some of the MCU, but not every movie. And I was like, you know what? I will be ready for Endgame, so I will watch them all. And that was my first time watching. So I already knew about like half of the universe being snapped when I've seen it. So I wasn't as shocked as some of you. But yeah, that's my experience. I still like this movie a lot. And this second viewing I did like a few weeks ago for the podcast right now, I enjoyed it even more than the first time. So that's just a solid movie. Do you want to add more, Chillmonger? Amazing. So I'm wondering, do you plan on watching Deadpool and Wolverine Overlord on release?
I'm still, thinking about it, or whenever I should do or not. My sister said I should try. My sister said I should watch. I should watch Inside Out 2.
Yeah.
Which is apparently not a complete pile of crap. So.
But she likes animation, so she has a bias.
Well, actually, she at least seems. Well, from what I've heard, the general consensus is that it's surprisingly not a complete pile of crap compared to what Disney had last year.
Hopefully, she's right.
Well, from what I heard, it's an overall consensus that it's not a complete pile of crap. So
that's good to hear. So. And what about you, Chillmonger? Do you plan on watching Deadpool and Wolverine on the Friday it comes out?
Maybe not right on that Friday, maybe not, but I plan to go to the movie theaters to watch it. But politics gets in the way. See, Disney is complicit and fund the Israeli occupation over in Palestine. So I've been trying not giving them my money as much as possible. So I want to buy a movie ticket to watch like another movie. Like maybe I'll pay for a Bad Boys ticket, but then I'll walk into Deadpool. And I don't think I could do that on Friday when every seat is packed.
Okay, well, good luck with that. I get your feeling, man. I I will be honest. I do that with actors, but not necessarily with studios.
Oh, you'll wait to support an actor. You'll be like, I gotta support Ezra Miller. So Flash,
Or
Flash
I cut
ticket.
it, or I cut it like in Flash. I didn't want to support that guy, so I didn't.
I'm not
didn't see it.
watching. Yeah, I think I. Yeah, no, I'm not watching The Flash.
Me neither.
No,
Well,
not
I did
without
see
that.
it after, but
I'm not
not in
watching the
theater.
platform too. Like, especially since generally the movie was a complete mess. Like in general, the big mistake was writing out Zoom,
Zoom.
Reverse Flash.
Is that's the villain? Yeah. Okay.
That's the one who's supposed to be the one behind the Flash's problems, but they decided to write him out of the plot because we're not making any sequels, so we can't set up anything.
Okay.
Yellow Flash kills his mum and causes him to become the Flash. It's like a time.
Actually,
it's like a causality.
yeah.
Causality loop.
I saw the
Yeah.
animated movie that did that.
Yeah,
That's how he meets Thomas
Flashpoint
Wayne.
is what that's. It was supposed to be a Flashpoint movie, but they kind of adapted. They did what a Marvel does. They adapted it, but kept
Good enough.
the main people out.
No,
I think the Flash movie is good enough.
and also,
You know,
they decided to end on a joke, but they didn't commit to the joke.
Yeah.
Because they ended with suddenly, now Batman is the Batman Robin version. But they didn't have the bad credit. If you wanted to end on a stupid joke, you should have been pull out the bad credit card. Like he's about to make, and then he looking, no, I'll pay for it. And then pull out the bad credit card.
I don't think Flash ended on a stupid joke. I think that he ruined the multiverse, and maybe there's going to be a Crisis on Infinite Earths movie coming 10, 20 years from now, where Henry Cavill will be in it, and George Clooney, should he still be alive because he's a little bit
well,
older.
they put all the universes together. Remember, like at the end, they did that really terrible CGI scene, but it showed Christopher Reeve. It showed like their multiverse, and like CW did the same thing where they at the end of Arrow, I think they the CW they put that part as the DC universe, and they basically made all the different Earths. And in that Diggle gets the Green Lantern ring. By the way, they show the green Seven Years ship smash crash in the
Flash
ground
ruined it, by the way. So
but
no,
they did all
he
of
doesn't
that,
get it.
All I'm saying is, listen, if they know they're doing a Crisis event, James
Yeah.
Gunn, get Henry Cavill while he's young and muscular now, because he's not going to be 20 years. Make him record all his scenes now.
I'd rather him be Ultraman, to be honest. But I think that and they already did Crisis. They kind of did a Crisis because they did in the CW they did it. They brought Tom Wellington back. They did a whole bunch of Superman. I think that and they did they brought Brandon Roof back for Kingdom Come Superman, which was fucking, his suit was epic. I was like, they should do a series of Kingdom Come Superman. His suit, why is he not Superman? Why have they not made this guy Superman again? But I think I think DC I think needs to hit with this Superman film, and it needs to be a baseline Superman film, and this needs to be him saving people, saving cats out of trees, doing the big boob Lois set thing, and having Lex Luthor be the villain. Just a simple Superman.
And not being some loser man child.
Yes, a nihilistic. I'm why does the world need Superman? Yeah, he's not Superman. None of the Snyder films show Superman as Superman. He's not Superman. He's Batman light.
Yeah.
So yeah. Anyway.
So I will ask you the same question I asked the Overlord and Chillmonger prior. Will you see Deadpool and Wolverine when it comes out on the Friday 26th?
Am I going to see it? Yeah. No, my fiance's pre-booking tickets because it's 5 days before my birthday. It comes out 25th, doesn't it? Yeah, 5 days before my birthday it comes out. So yeah, I'm like, yep, I want to see this film. it's like Ryan Reynolds' personal gift to me. Is this because I've been wanting to see him and Wolverine in a movie for forever.
That's what he said, because we're both in Canada. He was saying this is Paul's personal gift. You let him know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I'm super excited for it. I like Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's a controversial take, but I like him.
I don't think it's controversial. I think pretty much everyone likes him. Like, it's the universe around him that sucks, not him.
Yeah, that's true. I think there's been too many movies.
The same way.
I think there's been too many.
People like Henry Cavill as Superman. It's like it's the scripts that people, the scripts regarding, it's the scripts that people don't like.
Yeah,
I think that too many movies focused on him as the primary character in X-Men, and he's just an X-Men. He's not the primary character in those films. Like Days of Future Past made him the center character, and it's like actually Bishop is the center character of that story, which they again relegated a black man. Chill can talk more about this to a side character. I was so happy to see him in the start of that film, and I'm like, yes, Bishop is in the movie, yes. And then he used his powers. I'm like, this is awesome. And then no, it's not about him coming back in time. I'm like, no, why? Like, yeah. So, but I did notice this because I recently went through the X-Men films with my fiance for the first time. She'd never seen them.
Everyone?
No, I skipped 3, man. I'm not watching that trash. That's the first movie that ever made me angry in the cinema. I skipped that, and I skipped that god awful Apocalypse film.
Really?
But I showed her X-Men 1.
Did you show the Quicksilver scene at least?
No. Well, she got the Quicksilver scene in Days of Future Past, right?
Just give her the Apocalypse one.
Like,
it's better.
It's like I showed her 1, 2, First Class, and then Days of Future Past, and then I was like, and then she's already seen Logan. I'm like, that's it. That's the X-Men universe.
Wait, Bishop was in Days of Future Past.
Yeah, he was at the start. He was fighting the Sentinels with Storm. Yeah.
Oh.
You forgot to show her New Mutants. You know, she could be introduced to more people.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, speaking of mutants,
They erased 3 with Days of Future Past because at the end, when he comes back to his timeline and it's all fixed right, the Sentinels don't exist. Jean's there, and I'm like, oh, they made 3 not exist. They erased 3 with that movie. I'm like, yes, they did the greatest service they could ever do was erase that god awful film.
Or
do you remember the Juggernaut in that film?
No,
I
don't.
don't.
I remember that. I remember the line. I remember the line. I remember that line.
Yeah, they made a meme from the internet in that movie. Like
Yep.
they took that cartoon and they put it into the film. That cartoon existed before the film, and they put that. They thought it was cool, and they put that in the movie. And I'm like, this is stupid. Oh, for
I remember that they made a. I remember that the first Lego Marvel game made a joke about that. Before the boss fight with the Juggernaut, he's about to say the line, but then he gets interrupted by I can't remember. Was it Cyclops or something? Saying, yeah, we know that.
Can you imagine if he's in Deadpool and Wolverine and we hear the Juggernaut and he's rated R now and he can say every single line more than just the B word? That would be amazing. Hey, listen, at that time when the virality wasn't what it was, Vine didn't even exist yet. When we see something from the internet make it to a movie, that was one of the first times, if not the first times. That was great.
Yeah. So Chillmonger,
you're trying to get this back into the on topic. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Deadpool and Wolverine, cool movie.
Yeah, no, X-Men are my favorite
excited.
team, so they're my favorite Marvel comics. So I get very passionate about this.
That's
especially
fine.
watching X-Men 3 was like the worst cinema experience of my existence. I despise that film. I despise everything it stands for.
If you ever read X-Men comic book coming up because they are kind of rebooting, let me know.
I want to see. I want to read from the reboot front, so X-Men 1 onwards. Like I want to read, and they had so many in the 90s. They had like Exiles, all these weird things. I just want to go. Let's go back to the beginning, like which is why I like X-Men 97, by the way. Yeah.
So, Chillmonger, you're the last one that didn't give your grade out of 10 for Infinity War. What would be your grade?
I'll give it a 10.1.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay,
I'm trying to hold my jaw from dropping because I'm pretty sure dropping my jaw with
So it has
with
nothing.
I mean
There's
with
nothing
my
wrong with
after
it,
my
Bill. It's a perfect
after
film.
my wisdom teeth surgery. I don't think it'd be good for my jaw. I don't think it'd be good to drop.
I agree. Anyway,
As you say that, I'm like putting my tongue on my wisdom tooth to see like where it's at right now, how much is growing, because I know my surgery is coming up. Oh, 10.1.
Nice.
There's nothing wrong with it. Not true. Not true. There is stuff wrong with it, but the awesomeness is so awesome.
Outweighs it. It outweighs the negatives for
Because
you.
everything I go to the movies for, superheroes interacting with others, like their budget was no expense. Everything was awesome and,
Yeah.
and laughter. It
Yeah.
was all there.
Yeah.
And as a recap, because we are closing on that one, my grade was a 10. I do believe Glyndor was 8, and Overlord was 10 as well. So we are a panel of chills.
Yeah, so I think since I didn't watch Ant-Man and the Wasp, I'll be going.
Have a great day. Thank you for coming, man. Take care.
Have a nice day and good luck with your and Chill. Good luck with your surgery. You're gonna need it.
So that was Overlord. Now we get into the movie. I wish Jaded was around to defend, because Jaded, the fanboy, does like this movie. Shocker. But he got the link. He's not there, so I guess something is going on his end of the internet. Anyway, Ant-Man and the Wasp. Do you want to start, Chillmonger?
I think that this movie came at a time where it was. Where was he? He wasn't in Infinity War. They even marketed it that way. Where's Ant-Man? Where's Ant-Man? And it wasn't the right way to market it because it only grossed something like 600 million, which is great today. Today, if they made a 600 million movie, that'd be fine because Ant-Man and Quantumania only made something like $400 million. So this made it up to the 600 millions. The advertising was whack, but the budget was at least tempered. The shift in focus was, it's argued it was needed. We got to do something else. It can't always be the world is at stake. It's just this time around, I would wanted more Infinity War inclusion. I don't like that the movie basically takes place for the majority of it the day before Infinity War happens. He's still on house arrest. And it's not until the end that's kind of confusing because it kind of has a montage to where Janet, she's freed now and she's over with Hank on an island with their big house now that they just enlarged. And then we have like a, what do you call, montage, which makes it sound like time passes. Well, during Infinity War, as we just watched, where's Clint? Clint took a plea deal with his family. Who's Scott? We got to have an Ant-Man and a Spider-Man. Like during that scene, they mentioned that Scott was unavailable. But with the montage happening, it shows that there was time where Scott was freed from the ankle monitor, and he was up on a roof during the time Thanos snapped his fingers. He was just chilling in San Francisco in the Ant-Man suit. So there was an issue there. That's not, of course, the plot of the movie. That's just a inconsistency, which I hate them. Just like I hate them for Kiadi Mundi. The film and the daughter-daddy stuff was good to see. Always loved that. The film had humor with Randall Clark's character. They kind of changed him up in WandaVision to make him competent. The humor worked for me. Seeing Giant Man was wasted in was used already in Civil War, and the movie really didn't need that. So that took a sting away from this. They tried to make him even larger, like he was a whale. I think that, you should have definitely saved it. And Peyton Reed said he was upset Civil War was doing that. He was saving it for his sequel. And they didn't even use it in the third movie where they made him giant. Did they? No, they were in the quantum realm, so I guess, what is giant?
Yeah, they didn't use it in the third movie.
I haven't seen
Quantum. No, hang on, no, they did, because both of them go real large. Remember, he punches through the barrier in Quantum Mania. He's punching the barrier, and he punches a energy barrier with his fist and gets through. But we're not talking about Quantum Mania and how bad it is.
I'm excited to watch it to see how bad this is.
There were some good jokes in here, like, "What, did you have a vision of a wardrobe?" Nah, it was a dressing cabinet. that's what a wardrobe is. Like there are some jokes there. The fighting coming out of Hope was great. Seeing her in that car chase scene where she beats someone up in the back seat, comes in the front seat during that car chase scene, it was cool. There was some innovative stuff in here that I can give them points on for the visuals. The Baba Yaga jokes, the not much where I can go rah like Infinity War, but it was worth my money. And I did rewatch this movie over again because of just how high the Marvel I was feeling. I was like, yeah, I got to see this movie. What am I going to do on this Sunday? Well, I already seen it 3 times. Let me see it a 4th time.
Oh, at that point, oh my, maybe I'm crazy then. I had a totally different experience with this movie. I'm curious. Do you want to add something else to this?
If I think of something, I'll say.
Perfect. Well, Glyndor, you're next. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about that movie. Am I crazy?
I watched Ant-Man and the Wasp one time, and yeah, it's okay. It's nothing. It's not like horrible. I didn't hate it. I didn't walk out of the cinema like this is terrible. I walked out just like okay, like that was a movie. I don't know. I am less inclined to give it praise. I do think like the car chase scene was probably the best scene in the movie. That's what I remember, like them going really tiny and driving along the ground. I think they used the powers a little bit more, like in the action sequences. I didn't mind Wasp. She was okay. I think the whole movie was about let's get Michelle Pfeiffer out of the quantum zone. That was like the point of the whole film, and like it became less about the villain. Ghost, the motivations of these other characters were not as important, and I feel like you have to have a strong villain in these films. That's always been Marvel's issue ever since Loki. They really haven't been able to get a strong villain, aside from Thanos and Loki. And I would say Hera, but they kill their good villains. Like they kill them off, so they can't return. And I think that's Marvel's big issue. This is where Marvel runs into this issue a lot, and this movie highlights it. The Ghost is like it's like she has cool powers, but her motivations aren't interesting. The villain dialogue isn't interesting. There's issues with pacing in that film as well. I remember feeling bored at times, and I was like, "Am I bored in a Marvel film?" I think it's the first time I felt bored in a Marvel film was this movie. And I liked Ant-Man. I liked the first Ant-Man a lot. It's one of my favorite Marvel films. But like, I think, they could have written it a lot better. Yeah, there's some background noise coming from multi-topic, I think.
From me? What?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Maybe that's my fan. Sorry about that.
It's the fan. Yeah. Anyway, that's my initial thoughts on it. I think it's again a mid-tier movie. It's not as bad as The Dark World or anything like that. But it's like, and it wasn't like I hate this film when I walked out. I was just like, that was okay. Like it wasn't like, oh my gosh, I need to buy another ticket for this right now. It wasn't like Guardians or Winter Soldier or Civil War. Like it wasn't like, oh, I need to go back into the cinema right now and buy another movie. Like I missed something in this film that I need to see again. It's like, no, I didn't miss anything. Like it was like that was the problem with the pet. It's like, no. And they had the one good action sequence, like I talked about earlier, which was the car chase scene. And it was just like, okay, let's get Michelle Pfeiffer out of the I was almost going to say Phantom Zone. Then that's funny. Out of the quantum realm. Like it's like that. And I'm like, okay, cool. And they did that at the end. I'm like, yay. It's like, okay. Like it's like a filler movie. That's what it feels like. It's like a filler movie in the infinite. It's like, let's get another character out so we can have them later on. Like it was like, and we need the quantum realm so that we can do like Kang. So like, it's like, we need to fill in this gap. And what are we going to do? And it's like, this is where Marvel started their problem with like too many movies a year, too many things happening per year, and it became less of an event. And so they didn't spend as much money on stuff. They didn't spend as much money on scripting or on CGI and stuff. And this is, I think Ant-Man and the Wasp was the beginning of that, where they were just like too much stuff on the ball, like too much stuff going on, like and so like squeezing all this stuff together. And I think, yeah, it's not offensive in any way. It's very like, okay, this exists. Like, okay, cool. Like, so it's like, yeah, I was going to give my ranking, but I'll leave that for the end. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts about Ant-Man and the Wasp. Yeah.
Okay, well, I gotta say, I got a few issues. It could be worse. I will admit that. So I will start by the one maybe guys can debunk. So the one issue, eternal question: if ghosts can pass through objects, why she doesn't go through the floors? Don't ask questions. Turn off your brain and enjoy. I had issues throughout the movie like that. It's like, okay, how her power works exactly so she doesn't pass through the floors.
No. You see, the bottom of her feet, she can't control, how she'll phase out, but only 1 foot at a time goes into that. Oh my God, I'm phasing. That's why she'll just put all her weight on the right foot when the left foot starts phasing, so she doesn't fall down.
Is it explained in the movie? Maybe
Nope.
I missed it. No? So I'm not crazy. It's really an issue with this movie. Okay, that's good. Okay. I made a point there. Okay, next issue. Comic relief character is still filler, and most of his humor didn't land for me. So that's like the same guy that was my biggest issue with the first one. He's just back, and it's the same deal as the first Ant-Man movie. And again, I like the first Ant-Man. I enjoyed it a lot, but this one just felt like a worse attempt at doing it. That's how I felt watching that. Second issue, not funny breakfast joke. I can't remember this. I won't forget. I've seen that movie. The villain were forgettable. The ghost and the other one, like, I don't even remember their names, and I've seen the movie like 3 weeks ago. I've seen lots of movies since then, but like, they are forgettable.
He was the French guy.
Oh, he was French. Oh my, I didn't even remember. These villains were really weak. Comic relief character is back in my issue. It wasn't funny when it was questioned by the villains. So I think the humor was this movie biggest sin outside of, Miss phases through stuff when she wants to phase through stuff. Outside of that, I will admit I wasn't that bored. There was always something going on screen. Was it great? No, but it passed the time. I don't have a lot of positive to say. Like, music was decent. And again, I feel like the first Ant-Man was like a better version of that. This one was just like, oh, yeah, now we got Wasp. Cool, she flies.
She flies now.
I guess that was cool to see, like, Scott bonding with his daughter, or trying. The daughter was likable. I really try my best to defend this thing. I don't have a lot more to say. I will be blunt and honest. So I'm wondering if any of you would like to add more to this very informative discussion about Ant-Man and Wasp.
Well, Lawrence Fishburne was a really good professor in the movie, and yeah, I've seen it so many times. I just can't think of saying anything right now. I don't know. Good music.
Yeah, I think that's a trend with MCU.
And Luis, when he does the recaps of what happened, this happened, let me find blah, 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 blah. That continued, and we were missing it in the third movie. But Luis's scene, it's got its own themes. This movie has some things that the rest of them don't, and it's its own identity within the big brand of Marvel. The comedy is about the same as it is everywhere else, though.
I feel like the other MCU movies have just better humor. Um,
Don't you consider this one a comedy? Out of all of the movies, this one's more comedy than it is drama action. I have comedy and more.
Attempt at comedy.
Attempt at comedy, fine.
Attempts. For me, it doesn't count. Anyway, I wish Jaded was there to defend this. Anyway, Blinder, what would be your grade out of 10 for this masterpiece?
It's gonna be a 5. Like
Oh.
it's average. Yeah, it's not.
I
It's
feel-
not. It's not great. It's not horrible. It's just really in the middle. Like it's just okay. Like
I feel
if I walk out of a cinema, I'm like, oh wow, like okay, you're gonna get like a higher grading from me. Like, but like if I walk out of the cinema and I'm like, oh yeah, that exists. Okay, I don't need to see this again. Like it's a mid movie for me. Because if I walk out of the cinema and I'm like angry at it, then yeah, it's gonna be lower. Like because it's film structurally. It's not like they messed up CGI or they made it janky or the acting was poor or any of these things. Like the cinephile in me is like, yeah, it's a movie. It didn't really have horrible things. I think the script needed work. I think the villains needed to be a little bit more interesting. Like, but yeah, other than that, it's just it's an average film.
Yeah, and it's a bit funny because I do think that movie was better than both worst Iron Man movies. But again, I wasn't a big fan of that. Chillmonger, what would be your grade out of 10 if you're back? Otherwise, I will go on. I guess he is occupied. Oh, okay, you're there.
I would say my old grade was 8 out of 10. Nowadays, my grade would be 7 out of 10. I'm not as disillusioned as I once was.
That's interesting because I fall right in between the both of us, but my 6 is a more harsh than the usual 6 because for me that's a 6 out of 10. But for me, a 6 it means mediocre at best because for me to be average, you need to be 7. You need to be above like that mark where it's considered passing.
But is it a waste of your money? 6 out of 10, is that considered a waste of your money?
If you go see it in theater, yes.
Damn.
Especially with the price of the tickets nowadays. I don't want to go sit through a movie for a 6. But again, maybe I'm crazy. I didn't like it at all. I feel like I'm very gentle there with my 6. So what do you have going on your end of the internet, Blinder?
Sorry, what was that?
What do you have going on your end of the internet?
Oh, on the end of the internet, I don't do much on the end of the internet. You can follow me at Glyndor.cosplay on Instagram. I post like stuff that I create, like that right there, that Batwing I mounted and painted and made look realistic from the thing. I'm working on a cosplay over here that you can see behind me, so I'm working on that currently for Mr. Freeze. So I just do hobby craft and other stuff like that now. Considering putting videos and stuff online, but we'll see where it goes. At the moment, I just like to join other people and talk about movies.
Well, thank you a lot. And after this stream, just send me your Instagram if you want. I will add it to because usually in the description of each video, what I do is I leave link for people on our circle that were there for many streams, such as Chillmonger. You're usually in my descriptions. Anyway, what about you, Chillmonger? What do you have going on your end of the internet?
Yeah, just an hour ago, there's a Green Lantern video breaking down HBO's new series and how disapproving I am of Jon Stewart because he's a black character. And unfortunately, this black character is temporary. He gets to come in increments and then he's gone for Hal Jordan for like 17 years until the next time we use black Green Lantern. Anyways, that's up. Talking about Star Wars and feuding and even mentioning other channels like Geeks and Gamers too. And the controversy of this Acolyte show. I also have videos talking. Man, just go to my channel, Chillmonger.
The poison that is geeks and gamers.
I didn't say that.
I did.
I don't do that. I really don't want to ever become the guy who is badmouth someone else, or gets
Yeah.
their status, gets their name based off of using other people's. And I've got Paul. I have reasons to, but I don't do it.
Yeah.
You're more gentle than me and more respectful than me. Anyway, thank you guys. I had a blast. And I think we are out for tonight. Endgame will be in season 6. At some point, I will let all of you know, and we are done. Thank you all.